2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Looking for these better days.
It is Friday, December 26th. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. All three underdogs cover on your three-day Christmas Day slate. And the NBA slate got off to a bang and finished with an explosion. Mackenzie Rivers joins me here on this episode of Better Day, presented by FanDuel. Merry Christmas, Mackenzie. How was your day yesterday? You capped off your night, though, by joining me on VSiN last night, which was awesome to have you in studio. But how was your Christmas overall, my friend?
It was great Christmas. Got lovely messages from all my loved ones and spent some time with a few. So couldn't have asked for more. As far as the betting, lost my first 3 bets of the NBA 5-pack, posted on Better Day. But it's always nice to end the night with 2 rocking chair winners with the Rockets and with Jokic, who went over any prop you could imagine. What was his PRA? Like 85? What a crazy night in the NBA.
Yeah, he eclipsed all numbers. The game goes into overtime. Nuggets win 142-138 last night. Jokic 56, 16, and 15. So
86 or 87.
Yes. He did have a triple-double, which you could have bet at like minus 150 or so odds. We gave out your best bet, which was the over 22.5 rebounds plus assists. Obviously, he had 31 of those. So that one cleared easily. Actually, we cashed that in the third quarter. So it didn't even need overtime. Like the game went to overtime, but we cashed that bet in the third quarter. So you were right. Rocking chair winner on that one. And then rocking chair winner with the Rockets beating the Lakers. Early in the day, I mean, the Cavs, Knicks, that was very surprising to see how high scoring it was. Yeah. I thought for a moment, after it was a very high scoring first quarter, Mackenzie, I thought for a moment we were actually live with our bet on the under on the Cavs team total because they only scored 20 points in the second quarter.
Yep.
And so they had 58 points at the half. And I was thinking, listen, if they could, I'm not saying they needed to have another 20-point third quarter, but I said, if they could just limit the scoring here, we have a shot in this thing. But no, they scored nearly 40 points. They scored 38 points in the third quarter. But the Knicks, that was the story. The Knicks come from 17 points down to beat the Cavs 126-124.
Yeah, if we could get them to score 58 every half, we're going to go under 116.5 a lot. Because it's 116. So what threw me in this game is Evan Mobley coming off the bench. And if you look at the quarters, if you just think heavy Mobley quarter, not heavy Mobley quarter, the first quarter when they're playing their guards mostly, and that's the emphasis, 38 points in the first. Second quarter, more Mobley, working him back in, 20 points. Third quarter, again, the starters. Darius Garland is back playing better as well as ever, 10 assists in this game. 38 points in the third, and then in the fourth, it didn't come together yet again with the traditional starting 5. And I think it sends a very bad message, a very bad omen for the Cavs to drop this game. So many of the things that they seemed to fix last year with Kenny Atkinson coming in, the unselfishness, the offensive fluidity, it just seems to come to a grinding halt when they have their starters in. Like when Garland's out, their offense looks better, but you're not going to win much if your all-stars are not there. Same thing with Mobley here. He comes back. That's a good thing. They fall apart in the fourth with him on the court. That's a bad thing.
Yeah. So maybe the handicap would have changed if you knew about the Mobley minutes, but obviously, that was a breaking news that Shams had earlier in the morning prior to tip, and good win for the New York Knicks. The game that shocked both of us, the Spurs, for the third time in less than 2 weeks, beat the Thunder 117-102. I live bet the Thunder also in this game when they were down. I didn't see them only having a 19-point third quarter. I thought they would certainly have a much better effort in the second half, but maybe the Spurs just have figured out the Thunder.
Yeah, the Thunder have a Spurs problem maybe, and they definitely also have an offensive problem. Their offense, bottom 10 in the league the last 2 weeks, most of that, or 3 of those games against the Spurs defense. I think, 26-5. They were just 26-1. They were just going to on pace to win 78 games. Now they're on pace to win 60-something. I don't think they're as great as the other great teams, and I think we're seeing that because they lost to the Spurs, but it's also just the way that they lose. It's like if you could win by 20, you can lose by 20 in the modern NBA. So all their margin stats, I think we have to take with a grain of salt. With the Spurs, I've upgraded them massively, and I'm starting to get vibes from this team that they could do something. Like Wemby's only playing 25 minutes a game. He's worth an extra point and a half if he's playing 40 minutes a game. That's another lever they have yet to unlock. With everything they're doing with their young guards and De'Aaron Fox leading them. So it's exciting. I think I have them above the Lakers now, above the Warriors, which I didn't have to start the season. I think I have them a half a point worse than the Timberwolves. That might change soon. The Spurs are legit.
Yeah, very, very legit. And then the other game, the Warriors, a 126-116 win over Cooper Flagg and the Mavericks. Anthony Davis left this game early with an injury, so that's something worth monitoring moving forward. Much larger slate of NBA action here on Friday, Mackenzie. Any of these games stand out to you? The one that I was looking at was the Pistons and the Jazz. This is something that we talked about yesterday, looking ahead at this game. The Jazz and their first half overs is something that is... We have to start capitalizing on this, and we've missed the boat that we haven't been jumping on this like all season long.
Yeah, 14-3 to the over in the first half, and we know under Hardy they want to play fast, and the personnel that they have really benefits from more an up and down system, getting Markkanen some open threes in transition. But when can they do that? They can't do that as much as they would like. At home in Utah is a different animal. Historically, Denver's had a very good home court advantage. We're 3 points to the line. No home court advantage is more statistically, and I think anecdotally too, important than Utah's home court. So if they can play their style, we know what style that is. It's fast up and down. I think they're going to make the Pistons play that style tonight.
Really? Okay. So do we go with the over first half?
Very pricey. Looking at the game, 244 and a half. If I can get a 120, 123, something like that, yeah, I'm going over.
All right, let's see what they have up on FanDuel if the line is up here for this game.
Let's check like an hour ago. I didn't see it.
Yeah, usually depends. Nothing just yet. So we'll keep an eye on this. If we can get a reasonable price, though, might be an over for the Jazz and the Pistons in the first half, and we'll keep checking the FanDuel lines. Elsewhere tonight, you have the Clippers 1.5 point favorites up on FanDuel against Portland. What do you think about this matchup?
Love the Clippers. The model that I've built, it prefers the Clippers here, but I think the logic of why my model worked historically and why my betting handicap works historically is you have to take everything with a grain of salt. You look at the Clippers, 8-21 on the season. Obviously, that's not good. That's not a playoff team. But how differently do we think of them from our priors? Obviously, the new faster pace NBA has not fit the moves that they made, bringing in big men like Lopez and John Collins. So the style didn't work with what they wanted to do. But talent-wise, Kawhi Leonard's playing well. 37 points per game the last two. James Harden, one of his better, more efficient seasons. I think this Clippers team is obviously somewhere between what I thought beginning of the year and what their record says. But I think it's a little bit closer to where I thought at the beginning of the year. And I think this Blazers team is especially bad at taking advantage of their lack of guard play, of their lack of speed, because most of their big men, like Kamara, like Avdija, they're forwards. So I think the Clippers have a great matchup here. less than a field goal, as they say. I think the better team wins here, and they start inching closer to that play-in. I mean, that's a big deal. If they're 10th, they can argue this is a good season if they make the playoffs. If they're 11th, not so much. If they win this game, they'll be 2.5 games back. The Clippers are, and I think they do.
Here's the rest of your schedule here for this Friday evening up on FanDuel. All of these odds. Hawks 4-point favorites at home against the Heat. Magic 6.5-point home favorites against the Hornets. You have the Raptors 8-point road favorites at Washington. Boston 8.5-point road favorites at Indy. The Bulls 1.5-point home favorites against the Sixers. Suns 4-point road favorites at New Orleans. And Memphis 5-point home favorites against the Bucks. Anything stand out with those games?
I'm looking at Memphis, just a team that I've been backing recently and a team I've been fading recently in Milwaukee. That line seems a little cheap to me. I might be on Memphis.
All right, everyone, let's talk about drinking and driving, a decision that will change your whole world. Things will never be the same once you get a DUI because legal fees, time in court are just the beginning. Getting into a crash is another way your world could be irreversibly changed after drinking and driving. Your vehicle may not be the only thing that gets damaged in that crash. You could face a life-altering injury or even death, but you're not the only one who could face those consequences. Your decision to drink and drive could permanently change someone else's world, whether you injure them or leave their loved ones grieving. The next time you're out drinking, call a rideshare, a taxi, a sober friend, or a designated sober driver. Always plan for a safe ride home. The only decision that will change your world for the better is the decision to call for a sober ride. It's never worth it to drive drunk. Don't risk it. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
And now, Superhuman Shaq.
I keep telling them not to say that. I'm no superhuman. Believe it or not, I struggle with moderate obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA. In adults with obesity, moderate to severe OSA is a condition where breathing is interrupted during sleep with loud snoring, choking, gasping for air, and even daytime fatigue. Let's just say it can sound a lot like this. Sound familiar? Learn more at don'tsleeponosa.com.
This information is provided by Lilly, a medicine company.
If you're the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, you know having a trusted partner makes all the difference. That's why, hands down, you count on Grainger for auto reordering. With on-time restocks, your team will have the cut-resistant gloves they need at the start of their shift. And you can end your day knowing they've got safety well in hand. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This podcast is supported by The RealReal. Meet Christine. She loves shopping. And this is the sound of fashion overload. Too many fabulous things, not enough space. So Christine started selling with The RealReal.
I've always loved collecting designer pieces. Gucci bags, Prada heels. But my style keeps evolving. Selling with The RealReal? Game changer. I earn more, and they do everything.
Seriously, just drop off your items or schedule a pickup. We handle the photos, descriptions, pricing, even shipping. You just sit back and watch your items sell fast to our 38 million members.
And I get peace of mind knowing I earn more selling with The RealReal than anywhere else.
Exactly. That's the sound of your closet working for you. The RealReal. Earn more, save time, sell fast. And right now, you can get an extra $100 site credit when you sell for the first time. Go to TheRealReal.com to get your extra $100. TheRealReal.com. That's TheRealReal.com.
All right, let's get to the NFL games that we saw here on Christmas Day. All three underdogs do cover. One of them wins outright, and the totals go 2-1 to the under. In the first game, the Cowboys, a 30-23 win over the Commanders. Washington covers. The game goes over the total, and this was a game that was identified, Mackenzie, in our Trench Report this week as one of the top 5 rushing mismatches of the week. And so you would think we'd go with the RB1s to go over their rushing prop like we do with the Trench Report. Right. Well, Javonte Williams got off to a really good start here. He had 13 carries for 54 yards and a touchdown.
Solid.
But then Javonte Williams suffered a little bit of a shoulder injury, and so he was banged up and didn't really get the full complement of snaps here in this game. Cowboys backup running back, Malik Davis, 20 carries for 103 yards.
Is that Terrell Davis' son?
So we have a Trench Report success story, I would say, when the Cowboys rushed for 211 yards here over the Washington Commanders.
Oh, no doubt.
So I know that we didn't quite get home here with Javonte Williams because his prop was like 80.5 yards, but that's the injury. But this is a case where, remember, one of our members talked to us about this in the in one of our live streams, that he was playing the combo rushing yards courtesy of the Trench Report. So if you were able to bet a combo Malik Davis, Javonte Williams rushing prop, you cashed because Malik Davis took you home there with the 103 yards. Or if you just bet the Cowboys team rushing total over, they took you home with 211 rushing yards. So success story for the Trench Report there. Also success story for the Trench Report, Mackenzie, because each week, as we identify the top 5 biggest mismatches of the week, we also identify the top 3 closest matchups of the week. And in those matchups, we take the points with the dogs. Cowboys and Commanders was one of the closest matchups of the week. You took the points with the dog here. You covered with the Washington Commanders. In the second game, just an absolute embarrassing effort from the Detroit Lions. Did not expect that. We did expect Max Brosmer to be crap, which is why when it was officially announced as him as quarterback, we bet the Lions -7. We also bet the Vikings team total to go under. Mackenzie, the Vikings finished with 161 total yards of offense on 51 plays.
That's a below average first half.
Mackenzie, 65 of those yards came on one Jordan Addison handoff, not a catch and run, a wide receiver sweep run. Addison 65-yard touchdown run, 3 minutes left in the game.
Wow.
That hurt our team, that killed our team total to go under, because the team total was cruising to go under, and it was a 65-yard touchdown run that pushed it to go over. If you take out those 65 yards, the Vikings averaged less than 2 yards per play. They were pathetic on offense. Max Brosmer finished 9 of 16 for 51 yards. He was sacked 7 times for 48 yards, meaning the Vikings finished with 3 net passing yards and won the game 23-10 over the Lions.
If you were looking at this game and said, I want to bet an over, I would say good luck. Like, there was no chance that any over would hit. Somehow we picked out the bad egg in the jar there with the Vikings team total over.
6
No
turnovers
offense at
for the
all.
Detroit Lions. 6 turnovers for the Lions. That is pathetic. So much for Dan Campbell having his team fight, after
Awful
they got
loss. It's
eliminated.
now 2 in a row. I think three in a row ATS. Man, it seems like as soon as trends become popular, they fall on their face.
Well, this looked like a team that was eliminated from the playoffs last week. This looked like a team that knew that their season was over, and they just came out with just a piss poor effort. And it has me thinking about these games moving forward, where maybe we back the home teams, the eliminated home teams come out with the big efforts, because the road teams just have no interest. And this was a pathetic display here by the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I got to do this work. I think eliminated teams at home versus non-eliminated teams, especially, or maybe looking at if they have a high chance or a low chance, like the Lions had a low chance, but still non-eliminated. I feel like the market always says, well, the Lions have to win, and the Vikings are going to play as hard as ever because they only have 80 of these games in their career, and those players are going to try.
Yep, 100%. I agree. In the nightcap, the Broncos do what the Broncos do, and that is win ugly. A 20-13 win over the Kansas City Chiefs, a game in which, I gave Bo Nix credit because he's a winner, right? And the Broncos just find ways to win football games. But this was another case where you thought the Broncos should blow them out here. They're 14-point favorites, but maybe Sean Payton just knew that, hey, this team's not going to beat me. Chris Olajuwon, 13 of 22 passing for 66 yards and 1 touchdown. This is now his prop was like 151 yards, and I knew that the people were betting the over. But I talked about this on one of our previous pods. This is now the 7th game this season that the Broncos have allowed less than 150 passing yards. 66 passing yards? The Chiefs had no offense whatsoever, and it's crazy that they had the football with a chance to win the game, or maybe to score a touchdown and then go for 2 to win the game, but they didn't. R.J. Harvey, finished with 43 rushing yards, so he didn't go over. I did a same game parlay last night on this, and that was my only leg that I lost, and I'm so upset about it. And you know, it bothers me. Here, my same game parlay last night was under 38, easy winner. The best bet that we gave out up on the website, which was Oladukin under 29.5 pass attempts. He had 22 pass attempts. I did Bo Nix over rushing yards, and he had 9 carries for 42 yards, so he went over the 15.5 or whatever it was. And then it was R.J. Harvey to have 50 rushing yards, and he finished with 43 yards.
Man.
My one loss on the same game parlay. Yep.
You look at the box score, 22 first downs to 10, 300 yards to 140. That's the type of game your starting running backs gets 50 rushing yards. I mean, just salting it away at the end.
303 total yards to 139. What an embarrassing game for the Chiefs. But also, like,
how about for the NFL? How about for Amazon?
Well, I tweeted this out yesterday. It felt yesterday like I was watching more bad bowl games.
Right?
That's what it felt like.
Bowl-esque feel. Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It's crazy. But we're going to do more of a preview of the NFL slate coming up here for this weekend with a special Football Friday live stream podcast recording for Better Day Premium members.
You know, this is kind of the opposite of Thanksgiving, where all the good games were Thanksgiving, so the weekend didn't matter. All of the crap games we got out of the way. Now we got some good games this Sunday.
Yes. So for Better Day Premium members, we will be doing a live stream recording at 3 o'clock Eastern time here Friday afternoon. Mackenzie and I are going to run through the schedule here for week 17. And then for those of you that are not premium members, just because you won't be able to interact with us live and ask the questions, we are still going to release it in podcast form. So don't worry, but you'll just have to wait, to get it.
You don't have to wait. Go to betterday.com right now. Become a premium member.
Yes, you can become a premium member and participate in our live streams and our live Q&As that we do each and every week. So we will be doing that here at 3 o'clock Eastern time on Friday for you Better Day Premium members. I will say that there's been quite the conversation. We talked about this in our Better Day community chat, how FanDuel and DraftKings won't let you do the correlated parlay of the
you got to go to the score. You got to go to Profit X.
Or I did it on BetMGM. What we're talking about here is we're correlating the outcomes from Saturday's games to Sunday games. So we expect, because Lamar Jackson's probably not going to play, so the Packers are going to beat the Ravens, right? And then if the Packers beat the Ravens, the Steelers have nothing to play for. So we want to bet the Browns in that game. They won't let us parlay, or they won't let you parlay the Packers and the Browns. Crazy. It's like they know how correlated it is,
Well, the line's going to move massively. So props to any of the books that are putting it out, because the lines currently, like Steelers -3, are not because the Steelers are -3. It's because they're -2.5 if they're not trying at all. Maybe they should be -6 if they need the game like blood. Odds are they probably won't need the game because the Packers are favored and probably going to win. So it's kind of a split line. But you're taking advantage of what will be immediate closing line value as soon as we know the result of that game.
Yes. So the bet is to bet the Browns +3 right now, or bet them +140 up on FanDuel on the money line. Shop around, obviously. But the correlated parlay to me is you can do the money lines, or I like doing Packers -4.5 right now because I think they win and they cover convincingly.
Yep.
And then doing that, parlaying it with Browns money line, which actually up on FanDuel, they do let me put together right now, +358.
I think Cleveland's won the game against Pittsburgh at Cleveland like 4 of the last 5. So they've kind of reversed that rivalry a little bit. It's going to be their Super Bowl. It's the biggest game of their season.
Yes.
Regardless.
And the other correlation would be, and we'll talk about this more tomorrow, but it would be like if the Texans win, then the Colts have nothing to play for. If the Chargers win, the Colts are still alive for the playoffs. So like I would do like Chargers money line with Colts money line, or Texans money line with Jaguars -6.5. Because I think there's a chance that because if the Colts have nothing to play for, Mackenzie, I know Phillip Rivers says he's still going to start, he's still going to play, but if they have nothing to play for, the Jags go up, let's say 21-0 or 21-7, like Rivers is out of the game,
I don't even know if he's the most important player they would sit, but yeah, they have to start thinking about
exactly
the season differently.
Exactly. But again, more NFL to come later on today, 3 o'clock Eastern time, live stream podcast recording. And you guys can interact, ask all the questions with us there coming up on the Better Day Premium feed. We have the start of my favorite betting event of the year today, Mackenzie, and that is the IIHF World Junior Championship. So we did give out a best bet already on the Canada game against Czechia, or Czech Republic, if you will, coming up later on tonight up on FanDuel. It is a total of 6.5, and we are going over between Canada and Czechia. Canada is the favorite to win the event. Right now up on FanDuel, they're minus 105. If you want to bet them to win the event, go ahead. You want to lock up your money for a minus 105, that's fine. I think they're going to win. On paper, best roster in this tournament right now. I've talked about this before. It's their version of the Redeem Team. They did not medal last year. Hockey Canada has been going through a lot of stuff that they need to change the culture. And they revamped the program. They changed the way that they constructed this training camp, this roster. This means something here to Team Canada. They played 3 exhibition games prior to this tournament. They beat Sweden 2-1, which their starting goalie, Carter George, who was the best goalie in the tournament last year, right, was incredible. The only goal they gave up was on a 5-on-3 power play, okay? And then Canada played another game against Sweden, so they did like a whole back and forth or whatever, and the backup goalie for Canada was in. Sweden won 4-2. And then Canada played their final tune-up game 2 days ago against Denmark. So the final tune-up game, you're going to get your final lines, right? Your final roster.
It's the
you cut
third
the guys.
preseason game. This kind of matters, kind of.
Yeah, you cut the guys or whatever. This is like your dress rehearsal. Mackenzie, Canada beat Denmark 13-2. They outshot the Danes 50-10.
Redeem Team written all over.
Yeah. The United States, meanwhile, they played 2 exhibition games prior to the start of their tournament, which they will take on Germany here tonight. And the United States the total in the game is 7.5. The U.S. is on the puck line minus 5.5. Okay. So now think about this. There's only 2 scores in which the U.S. covers a 5.5 goal line and the game goes under 7.5. It's either 6-0 or 7-0. Well, the United States played Germany in a tune-up game on December 21st. Final score, U.S. won 8-0. Okay? So do we think that score repeats itself? Germany played a game December 19th against Finland, a tune-up game. They lost 7-3. So this should be a game where the U.S. can pick their number, and it's correlated, right? Like minus 5.5 and over happens, right? Unless, like I said, there's only 2 scores where it doesn't happen. If it's 6-0 or if it's 7-0.
Do you know if the books reflect that? I mean, they can't just be giving standard parlays, I would think.
So if you did minus 5.5 with the over 7, you can't parlay puck lines and totals in hockey.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Logical.
But the best bet is on the over 6.5 between Canada and Czechia. Canada is minus 3.5 on there. Yeah, it's Czech Republic. Say it right, man.
I know. I need to know this. This is my heritage. My grandmother was half Czech.
Have some respect, bro. Have some respect. And then the Canada 3.5 on the goal line here again, or on the puck line.
I'm trying to get people to call it Bohemia again. I'm trying to start that train.
We have 3 bowl games today. Here's your lines currently up on FanDuel for the 3 bowl games that we will see. You got Central Michigan and Northwestern. This is the Game Above Sports Bowl or something like that. It's being played at Ford Field in Detroit, which is like the MAC home stadium, because like this is where like MAC teams play their championship games. So Central Michigan, they'll have the fans there, and also like they're probably excited about playing in this stadium, because some of these kids at the beginning of the season, their goal is to play their final game at this stadium. Ideally, they would have hoped it was 2 weeks ago in the MAC championship and not in a bowl game, but still, I would take the 10.5. I think with Northwestern. That's my lean here. I mean, with Central Michigan. Northwestern's a 10.5 point favorite. I would take 10.5 with Central Michigan. They should run the ball all over Northwestern here. New Mexico takes on Minnesota in the Rate Bowl at Chase Field in Phoenix. Right now up on FanDuel, Minnesota 1.5 point favorites. I know Minnesota's 6-0 in bowl games under their head coach PJ Fleck, but it feels like it's New Mexico or pass for me. They haven't won a game away from Minnesota this year, so they've been terrible on the road. I just don't know if they, have what it takes to win here on the road. And then in the nightcap, it's Florida International and UTSA in Dallas in the First Responder Bowl. Give me the under 60.5. We've seen unders dominate this bowl season. This total is too high. We don't know what to expect from the players that are playing, that are not playing. Yep. There's just too much uncertainty in bowl season, and these games have been terrible. It looks like these kids don't practice. That's why the Hawaii Bowl was such a big investment for me, is because you knew, or at least I knew, or we knew what to, and everyone should have known what to expect from that game.
It was a real game.
Exactly. We knew both coaches were treating it like a real game. We knew both teams, the rosters, were treating it like a real game. And so that was that's why we were invested so heavily on that game. These other bowl games, I mean, the fact that UNLV only scored 1 touchdown in the fourth quarter in their game against Ohio was so pathetic. I've watched every UNLV game this year. You can't tell me that Anthony Colandrea, their starting quarterback, and Jet Thomas, their starting running back, practiced this last month. They probably did walkthroughs,
They practiced signing autographs and contracts.
Yeah. What these coaches are doing now is they're using this month of practice here in between the regular season and the bowl game to get a look at their rosters for next year, to work with their players that are going to be on their depth charts next year. They're not game planning for their opponents. The coaching staffs are a shell of themselves. These bowl games have been just absolute disasters. Absolute disasters. So 60.5 is just too high. Give me the under, Florida International and UTSA. Once again, a reminder, Mackenzie and I will be doing a live stream for Better Day Premium members coming up at 3 o'clock Eastern time here on Friday. And so if you join us on that chat, we will talk to you then. If not, you can listen to it when we post.
It might be happening right now. You might be listening to this. Check your clock. It might be 3 o'clock Eastern where you are.
Exactly. And then you could say, oh, when's that podcast coming out? Let me go listen to that a little bit later on, or maybe tomorrow. So we'll get you ready for the weekend here in the NFL and any NBA plays that we have along the way. We are excited for what's to come here in the new year. We hope you guys are as well. We can't thank you enough for being on board with us at Better Day. Hope you guys all had a great Christmas, and let's get ready to rock and roll here because it's time to buckle up. We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs here in the NFL. And then, of course, the college football playoff will continue with New Year's Eve. So we'll have plays for that as well. And then, just really excited about what's to come starting in the new year. New collaborations, new content, all that stuff. We're just getting started. So buckle up, everyone. For Mackenzie Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.
Congress may have clawed back funding for public media, but public radio's mission to serve you and your community will not waver. As the NPR network enters a new chapter, your support is critical. Visit donate.npr.org. Everybody knows Shaq, but off camera, he's just a regular guy.
People never believe me when I say I'm just like them. I take out the trash, do dishes, and I struggle with moderate obstructive sleep apnea, or OSA. And a lot of adults with obesity also struggle with moderate to severe OSA. You know those scary breathing interruptions during sleep? The loud snoring, choking, and daytime fatigue? I knew I had to talk to my doctor. Don't sleep on the symptoms. Learn more at don'tsleeponosa.com.
This information is provided by Lilly, a medicine company.
College football never stops. When college football news breaks, it breaks on On3. From the transfer portal to the playoff race to coaching changes, the sport is moving every single day. That's why college football fans turn to On3, a trusted authority with real reporters and real communities built around the teams you care about. Find all of your favorite teams and join the community. Get the full picture at on3.com. That's ON and the number 3.com.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.